Taking a look at QuantumScape again, you can see it had this low and then it had this low. Now it's got a big, big rejection move down here. I'd be really careful. You can see this was 1350 is where it bounced off of, here, there again, and then another one. But, I mean, look at this volume in here. Every time you see this volume here, every time it kind of has increasing volume, it's on the red, and you just get these, yeah, well, you get these bad volumes. It had some good volume there on a green day, but that was, man, right at the top of this little move, which had a, just not a really good enthusiasm of buying. And then also, it got rejected right at 20 here. Not good, not great. So I'd be really careful that you don't get some kind of well, first, you got this, and then you got to be careful that you don't get some kind of move down like that. If it breaks this little area in here, 1350, that'd be bad news. I do see this, a little bit of a gap right here. So maybe, well, yeah, look at this. This is on the bright side. Those gaps are always interesting when you get price gaps. I don't know why, but stocks always seem to have a magnet around these price gaps in the short term. And maybe, even in the long term, you can see these gaps somehow, look at that. I mean, you had all of this at that gap, or this gap right here, this little circle gap. You then had that bounce off of there, and then another bounce, and then, another bounce. And ultimately, when it failed right here, it was a meaningful failure because look at this. That gap then, it proved significant right there in November. All right, that was all the way back in November of 2021. So, I don't know why price gaps are significant. You had look at this gap. That then became, for right here. Okay. So who knows? Maybe this gap right here, this one will mean something. Hey, how about that? It did mean something right here and right here and right here. So, I'd be real careful on this 1350 because if this gap does not hold, okay? Whoopsie. If this gap does not hold, okay, that'll be meaningful then, because then, what would you expect then after seeing what happened with all these gaps here, Look at that gap, right? And this gap, okay? Right? You had these points of rejection right in there. So what would you expect? I'd expect maybe for then if this gap at 1350 fails for this to now become the expectation. So, oh, and look at this one too. Look at this little gap. That proved to be, significant right there. I don't know why. But price gaps have some kind of psychological effect. I mean, look at this is real super gappy. This huge thing in here, okay, where you had these big swinging, you know, moving up and then a gap and down and then a gap up and rally, and then all the while that area becomes a gap, and look what happens. It just becomes significant, right in here, and then again here and here, and right even here. So 1350 is your level. I'd be careful around there.